As Texas Governor Greg Abbott wages lawsuits against Democrats in the state, arguing that their quorum break is now grounds to vacate them from their seats, he was just confronted on the fact that only a few years back, in 2021, the now Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court actually validated the use of quorum breaks as a political practice.
Justice Blacklock wrote, Article 3, Section 10 enables quorum breaking by a minority faction of the legislature.
Right. Yeah. Carefully chosen word. Carefully chosen word.
Enables.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference now? What do you hope they come out with?
The way the Constitution is constructed, it does enable them. He didn't use the word empowers them. Okay? There's a huge difference between the two. The way that the Constitution is worded is because it allows them to escape. He didn't say, very importantly, he did not say, nor did the court say, that the writ that I have to the Supreme Court, which is quo warranto, they did not say that is disallowed to be able to be brought. So the issue that I'm bringing is an issue of first impression for this court that the court did not decide at all, top side or bottom, in 2021.
It seems like your goal is to end the practice of quorum breaking once and for all.
We have to understand this consequence. If quorum breaking is allowed to succeed, then a 1/3 of House Democrats would be able to dictate what the rule of law is for 100% of all Texans. They could break quorum anytime the budget came up. They could bankrupt the state by refusing to pass a budget unless their every leftist whim is capitulated to. As governor, I will not let that happen. I believe the Supreme Court will agree that 1/3 of Democrats in the Texas House don't have the power to completely run the table of the state of Texas.
What is the role of the minority in the legislature then?
It's up to them to decide, but it's not quitting and leaving. Let's be clear about something. Quitting and leaving is the most un-Texan thing there is. Texas began at the Battle of the Alamo, where they didn't cut and run. They fought to their death to fight for what Texas was all about. These Democrats, they're the antithesis of what a Texan is. Oh, the going got tough. Let's not fight. Let's flee. These are quitters. They are cowards, and their cowardice will cause them to get kicked out of office.
You see this as your Alamo moment over redistricting?
This is continuation of ensuring that we are going to fight for Texas, and we're not going to be held hostage by a few leftist progressive Democrats who are trying to turn Texas into the blue states.
Greg Abbott says that the state Supreme Court said that the Texas Constitution enables quorum breaking, but doesn't empower quorum breaking. That is called a distinction without a difference. Abbott can desperately parse words all he wants, but the reality is that quorum breaking is not illegal. It is not a crime. In fact, quite the opposite. Its legitimacy as a tool to achieve a political end has been validated not just by history, but by the highest court in Texas. In fact, I spoke with one of the quorum breakers, Texas State Representative James Tallarico, about the history of quorum breaking. Here's a quick note on what he had to say.
I just want to say we're here in Illinois, the land of Lincoln. I'm not sure if you know this, Brian, but Abraham Lincoln, when he was a state senator in 1840, broke quorum by jumping out of a window in the Illinois State House.
Yeah.
And so I say that because I do believe my colleagues and I are participating in a very long American tradition of standing up to bullies, of civil disobedience, of good trouble. And it's our deep honor to do so.
I guess Republicans are content to be the party of Lincoln, but only up to the point that it's convenient. And clearly, validating the use of quorum breaking certainly isn't convenient. Going back to Abbott, though, notice when he says this.
It seems like your goal is to end the practice of quorum breaking once and for all.
We have to understand this consequence. If quorum breaking is allowed to succeed, then a 1/3 of House Democrats would be able to dictate what the rule of law is for 100% of all Texans. They could break quorum anytime the budget came up. They could bankrupt the state by refusing to pass a budget unless their every leftist whim is capitulated to.
But here's the thing, they don't. Abbott is fear-mongering about something that literally does not happen. This isn't a hypothetical. Democrats are in the minority right now. They are in the position that Abbott is warning they could abuse, but they're not abusing it. He is arguing a complete straw man. If the Democrats were abusing quorum breaking to protest budgets and grinding the government to a halt every 5 minutes, then his point would be valid. But they're not doing any such thing, which means that Abbott is just being a complete hack. The reality is that the Democrats have been extraordinarily judicious about when to break quorum. And in the last decade, it's only happened in situations where Republicans are trying to strip rights away from people. Back in 2021, the Texas Democrats broke quorum to protest a voter suppression bill, SB 1, which included provisions like new restrictions on mail-in voting, banning 24-hour and drive-through voting, which was used in Harris County, new ID requirements for mail-in ballots, limiting when polls could be open, new criminal penalties for election officials, and empowering partisan poll watchers. And now, similarly, they're protesting a straight-up power grab at the hands of Donald Trump because he feels entitled to move seats so that he doesn't lose the House in 2026. And his little minions aren't even trying to hide it.
The timing of this, can you talk to me about this? Why do this in a census off year when you just redistricted in 2021?
Because we can. We have the votes. It's legal for us to do so. It's legal for us to draw the lines based on political performance. We have 3 Hispanic predominated districts in South Texas that we believe that we can carve out for Republican leadership in the United States Congress. It's going to be a good thing for Texas. I don't spend any time thinking about what happens in California, Illinois, or New York. I'm here to protect Texas and ensure that our voices are heard.
So because you can, why should you, though?
Because it's good for our party, it's good for our state, and we need to ensure that Donald Trump's agenda continues to be enacted throughout his second term. And we as Republicans see this as the difference between Democrats trying to impeach President Trump again during the second half of his final term as president of the United States, or accomplishing the agenda that all the voters in Texas by a significant majority sent him to accomplish.
So you're doing this for President Trump?
We're doing this for Texas. President Trump doesn't call me. I don't think he has my phone number. But what I would submit to you is this is the best thing for Texas and its representation in the United States Congress.
Because we can, because it's good for our party. The modern GOP is outwardly, openly, shamelessly anti-democracy. They want to live in an authoritarian country, and they are broadcasting it right now. You'll notice, too, that Abbott says this.
What is the role of the minority in the legislature, then?
It's up to them to decide.
That stammering diatribe was Abbott trying to figure out a way to say the word nothing. He thinks the minority should have zero power, none at all. He doesn't want democracy. He wants total control. Again, these elected officials on the right are not willful partners in democracy. They are aspiring autocrats. If this party was in the minority, the Republicans, he would demand as much power as humanly possible. But when the Democrats are in the minority, he wants to eliminate the last remaining tool that they have at their disposal, a tool that is legal and was upheld as legal and valid by the Texas Supreme Court. Power for me, none for thee. And finally, listen to Greg Abbott's pathetic final pitch.
Quitting and leaving is the most un-Texan thing there is. Texas began at the Battle of the Alamo, where they didn't cut and run. They fought to their death to fight for what Texas was all about. These Democrats, they're the antithesis of what a Texan is. Oh, the going got tough. Let's not fight. Let's flee. These are quitters. They are cowards, and their cowardice will cause them to get kicked out of office.
That the Texans who left the state are cowards. Let me be perfectly clear here. Leaving your family, your job, your children, your home, your life to live out of a tiny hotel bedroom for an open-ended, indiscriminate amount of time while you sacrifice your paycheck and your loved ones all to protect democracy is not a coward's move, it is a hero's one. These Texas Democrats put themselves on the front line of this fight, not because they are weak, but expressly because they're not, a point that both James Tallarico and Gene Wu explained here.
You know, as a state representative, I get paid about $600 a month before taxes. And so that's not much to live off of. And so many of my colleagues, including myself, we have day jobs that help us pay the bills. And by breaking quorum, we are leaving those day jobs behind. We are sacrificing the income that we need to make ends meet. I also have colleagues who are leaving behind young children. I have some colleagues who are leaving behind aging parents. So this decision was not made lightly. It's a cost to all of us, a financial, a professional, a political, a personal cost to do something like this. But we all feel so strongly that this power grab is so brazen, so egregious, so dangerous for the future of our republic that we had no other choice but to make this stand. And I hope what it does is I hope it inspires not just all Texans, but all Americans to step up and do something to stop this power grab from happening. Whether you're in a red state or a blue state, there is always something that we can do to stand up to the president and ensure that we have free and fair elections.
Many members, because they have children on their insurance, actually owe the state money, right? So there's no paycheck. There's no even income from that. I haven't earned a paycheck in 8 months, and that's not a woe is me kind of thing. It's just reality. That's a choice I made to sacrifice to be a caucus leader and do all these things and lead us. But there's other members who, I mean, they have like a week's worth of cushion, just like regular Americans.
Yeah.
And everything that people are doing helps. People's contributions help, but that contribution can't go to our personal incomes. That money can only be used for this. So we can't fight this fight forever. What we need is Americans to stand up. We're buying time for Texans to wake up. We're buying time for Americans to gear up, to not only deal with Texas, but deal with this in every other state. Because if this is allowed to happen, if people who lie, cheat, and steal are allowed to win the day, that is the end of our country. That is the end of everything we believe in. Because our nation has always been about hard work and fair play. That it doesn't matter what your last name is. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter who you were born to, or it shouldn't. And everyone who works hard and follows the rules will get ahead. If you believe in that, if you want that back, do something. Get off your ass, right? This is our last shot in saving the American dream. And I, for one, I'm not ready to let the American dream die without a real good fight. But we need everybody to stand up and fight.
But while we're on the subject of cowardice, perhaps I have a better example for Greg Abbott. Perhaps it's a tyrant in Washington, D.C., knowing that he's going to lose the midterms, demanding his loyal little supplicants in the states draw him new maps because he is incapable of making the case to the voters, and so instead he's just going to usurp power that way. And it's those state Republicans being dutiful, obedient little lapdogs. That is what cowardice looks like. Greg Abbott had the opportunity to take a stand and do what even those Georgia Republicans wouldn't do when Trump tried to overturn the 2020 election and demanded 11,780 votes. But Abbott is a weak-willed, desperate little bitch who doesn't have the spine to say no, and so he obeyed immediately. And that point isn't lost on anyone.
Absolutely disgusting and horribly embarrassed by the conduct of these legislators. And look, I get that we're going to have differences of opinion, that, we're going to try to maximize political power, but to do so not for the ideology that you subscribe to, for the policies that you pursue, but simply to satisfy the ambition, the greed, the thirst for power by Donald Trump. It's as un-Texan as it gets. And Ann Johnson, she's one of these heroic state legislators who left the state to break quorum to stop this deal. She made this comparison, Brian. She said, when Trump called Georgia Republicans after the 2020 election and said, hey, will you find me 11,000 votes? They said, the hell with that. Absolutely not. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. We will not do this. When he called Texas Republicans and said, find me 5 congressional seats, they said, how soon do you want them?
Yeah.
And so that's the difference right now, both between 2025 and 2020, but also I would argue between these Texas Republicans and Republicans in other states like Georgia. These folks are working with Trump thick as thieves, and it will be to the detriment not only to Democrats, I mean, that's not really the issue here, but to the constituents that they purport to represent and serve. Those are the folks who are going to be hurt worse by their betrayal.
So if Greg Abbott is looking for the coward here, he might want to consult a mirror. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.